especially nowadays where there's so much health and wellness information on the internet. Even if you're not really into health and fitness, it's around you, or you know somebody that's super into it. And I wanted to really keep it 100. Like, I am very blunt with people that I know very well in my life, not in a rude way or mean way, but myself, and I tell you about yourself. It's like we are genuinely trying to catapult each other, whether it's like a family member or like a super close friend. We want to get them to each other to the next level. So I really want to be just flat out honest with you. By the way, excuse my attire, I am on my way to the beach. So losing weight, losing fat, losing weight, gaining muscle, wanting to lose a couple pounds, wanting to be skinnier, thinner. There's so many layers to it, and it's so confusing that I want to, as somebody that has researched this and lived it and am still going through my ups and downs and trial and error with the fitness journey myself, I want to tell you some things that I have learned that I had to have some reality checks with. Because there are things that I thought that I knew, but like in reality, I was completely either mistaken, misled, or just like flat out didn't know what I was doing or talking about. So the good thing is that you learn from it and you know, get better and like get the correct information. But the bad news is that you have to like constantly start over, which is okay, because at the end of the day, to be honest, this is another topic for another day, but just the fact that you have breath in your body is a blessing. Okay. So it's a blessing to keep failing and trying. So that's for another video. But I'm going to give you guys a couple of things that has finally clicked for me. Finally clicked, okay? After so many years of being on this journey with health and fitness. And I'm like, wow. So, if you want to lose fat, that's different from losing weight. And a lot of times, okay, and I'm going to just, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm just going to keep it real with you. So if you're coming in, this is live. So if you're coming in and out of my live, you can either, you know, comment, ask me a question. I'll be able to answer it when I either park, or I'll answer it in another video. Or I read all the comments as much as I can. I was under the impression, okay, so really quick, I'm 140 pounds. I'm 5'7", I'm 140 pounds. And I'm within my bracket. Like if you look at like the stats of like what you're supposed to be at as a female at 5'7", I'm within like right in the middle, I believe, of like where I'm supposed to be at. So at this stage in the game for me, if you're like me, where you're like, I'm just trying to lose that last 10 pounds off of my body, you might be struggling to actually get the 10 pounds off, because it's not really the pounds that you really want off. It's like that last little bit of tweaking with body composition. And I'm telling you, and you might be looking at me like, no, Ciana, I really want to get 10 pounds off. But if you think about it, when you really ask yourself, like, okay, why do I want the 10 pounds off? Like, what is it? Is that going to enhance my life? Is that going to really make me healthier? Like, is that going to, you know, get me a promotion at work? Like, what is the point of getting the last 10 pounds off? Like, why is that so important? So for me, I'm going to tell you what it is for me, and let me know if it's the same for you. But for me, when you're just so close to something, right? And this is why they always say like the last 10, 15 pounds is the hardest. When you're so close to something, you're like, it's the hardest part, like that last stretch. And there's just like 3 to 5 things that you just need to tighten up to get there. But those are the hardest things to tighten up. So let me explain what I'm talking about with me. And hopefully this will help you out on your journey. And again, let me know in the comments. I don't really want to lose 10 more pounds. I realize I don't really want to lose 10 more pounds. It's the body recomp, that last couple tweakings, the last inches around my waist that I really want to change. So being 5'7" at 140 pounds, like if I lose 10 more pounds on the scale, I am going to be losing muscle. And like, I don't know why, I just didn't want to believe that. Like, I just did not want to believe. I just want, like, I think it's the conditioning of, there's a couple of reasons. The conditioning of society with like, you know, losing weight, and we equate it to the pounds on the scale. it just really clicked for me this year in 2024. As much as you guys have seen my page and as much as I talk about health and fitness and like my journey and what's worked and what hasn't, it finally clicked for me. I was like, I feel like I keep going between 135, 144, 135, 144, which I'm fine with. Again, that's still, I think like the range within my height is like, I'm still below, even when I'm at my like heavier side, which is 145, I'm still below, like I'm not near, like nowhere near like overweight for my height. I'm actually like still 10 pounds away from like where it'd be like considered like, okay, you should lose a couple pounds health wise. So the health department, I'm okay, like I'm good there. But I was like, why do I keep going back and forth? But I'm like, I don't really see my clothes looking different. And I really had to just sit and like really take in, number one, I really study what women do over 40 and over 50, because these shredded stomachs, again, you do not need this. This is not something that you need to be a better person. You need to get a wife or a husband. You don't need a shredded six-pack. For Ciana though, and again for some other people that just want to do it for fun, I'm just so close, because I always have had like the top two on a good month, the top 4-pack, right? But like that shredded 6-pack look, I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing? So finally, after my research, I was like, I have been so hyper focused on cutting my calories in versus calories out, that I can't, that's been the very thing that's been holding me back from getting that like really tight, lean look. Because the thing is, I am a professional under calorie eater, unfortunately, because I worked at Hooters for many years when I was in college. And then I also was a professional dancer, and I was a cheerleader like in high school, and I was on dance teams, you know, when I was even in elementary school. So I wasn't thinking about my body and stuff like that young, but it was definitely, there was a focus on how you looked. So when I was in high school being a cheerleader, it's like we're in those tight little skirts, those tight little crop top outfits. I mean, you know, and some of the I didn't go through that journey, thank God, but some of the girls that, you know, were thicker did go through that journey of like, you know, feeling uncomfortable in their cheerleading outfit or whatever, because it's, you know, people make comments like it's just so sad and so stupid. But so anyways, I did start to focus on, like, I didn't notice it a lot because I was just naturally thin and like fit, but like there was a focus there. Went to college, again, professional dancer. It wasn't even undercover. It was like, oh no, you're gonna lose 5 pounds in the next 5 days, like, or you're not gonna go on the field. Like, that's how strict it was. And you know, when you think of like the LA Lakers or, you know, the Clippers or, you know, any of these professional teams, you know, you see how thin and tight and petite the girls are, and some of them it's natural, and then some of them it isn't, and you really go hard to like be small. I was one of those girls. Like, by the time I hit college, my hips were starting, you know, my thighs were getting thicker, my hips, you know, and everything. So I would have to severely under eat, or like me and some of the other girls that had, you know, thicker, like just naturally thicker bodies, still fit, but just thicker. We would be like, oh yeah, we're not eating until Friday. Like, we're not eating until like after the game. And like when I was younger, I could do that. It was like my body could like take the beating of that. But that wasn't healthy for my mental state, and it did bleed over, because then I worked at a company, I'm not going to say what company it is, but I did work at a company where I was like a high-level manager for many years, and it was based off looks as well. And so I've just been in this, like, I've just been in a part of environments where looks were like a thing, right? Like, if you work in an administrative job, or, you know, I don't know, a bank teller, like, it's not based off of beauty and like body structure. So I, for a long time, have just been exposed to like having to focus on that. So as I've spent more years on the planet, that's not going to work. Like, I can't not eat until Friday and then lose 5 pounds, and then expect to be able to keep it off. I'll be honest, that method was working for me for a long time. But the experts always say this, you're going to plateau. You're going to plateau. And for me, I wasn't plateauing. Like for a long time, I wasn't plateauing. And then finally it happened. I got to the point where it was like I would undereat, and like I just wouldn't lose the weight. Like I wouldn't be happy looking at the scale. I would see like 2 pounds lost. And I'd be like, wait a minute, I did everything. I was in the sauna. I did my cardio. I was under eating. Like what is the deal? And it was like starting to get with me. And then I would like go more into a spiral, which I would be more stressed, which would make me hold on to more weight. And I was like, how are these women in their 40s like able to be so shredded? And like, I'm a healthy, fit person in my 30s, but like, I'm like, it's just like, I don't know, I'm hitting some weirdness. So yes, as you do continue to spend more years on the planet, your hormones are changing. There's more life, things that are happening, like, you know, family, whether you're dealing with an older elderly person in your family that you're taking care of, or maybe you have young kids and that's closing in on you at the same time. Maybe you have a partner, you're working on things in your relationship. Like there's just a lot that goes on. And so I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like in my head, I'm like, no, like there's an answer to this. Women in their 40s and 50s are they're shredded, black, white, Mexican, every single race. So it's not a race thing. So I'm like, I really got to figure this out. So finally it clicked. It finally clicked. Everything that I've been doing. Now, mind you, you guys have seen me on my journey. I hired a professional master trainer who taught me about like protein and like lifting weights. So I have that down. Like I'm just going to continue to get like practice and get better at my training. My nutrition is still like not 100% dialed in, but I'm way better than the under eating. I officially don't under eat anymore. But sometimes I would find myself like some months, if I were to be honest, I would find myself being like, oh, I'm just going to like kind of chill on the eating because I kind of just want to feel smaller. And like, I just wasn't feeling smaller. And I'm like, okay, you know, I have to just admit to myself, I've hit that plateau that a lot of professional fitness and nutrition people talk about when you under eat and then you try to work out. Like you can't, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? Like keep cutting, like go down to 1,000 calories, 800 calories. Like we can live off of 0 calories until you're 100. Like it's just not going to work. So I would listen to these older women. I'm like, I'm just going to listen to the older women and just see like what they're doing. Because the consistent thing that I hear older women talk about, and men too, I listen to male advice, but like, you know, with the women's hormone thing, I'm just obviously learning more with having to take hormones into account. They all eat over like 2,300 calories, 2,500 calories. And I'm like, how is it that you can have a shredded 6-pack, but then like eat 2,500 calories? Like it just wasn't, even though I hired the master trainer, he was training me more on like my form and like how to lift weights and how to lift heavy and mind muscle, you know, mind body connection, mind muscle connection. But I'm like, it's not clicking. Like, how do you eat more and then look smaller? Like it just wasn't clicking, and it finally clicked. Finally. So at this stage for me, again, with me being 5'7", and I know I'm like really driving this point home and saying the same thing kind of in different ways, but I really want you to understand, like, it's not going to work for you. Like if you're in this, okay, I'm back. So don't think that you can, because you're going to think that you can, but you can't. Just don't do it to yourself. I did it. I was looking at videos where there was women just like me saying, don't do it. And I still did it anyway. I know people are going to be watching this like, okay, that's cool, but I'm going to still under eat and do cardio. Because the thing is, it works. It does work. Like you do, like say if you want to, like I'm going to be in a bathing suit today, right? So say if I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to be in a bathing suit in 5 days. I'm just going to like barely eat and do cardio and be in the sauna. I did that for so many years and it did work. Like aesthetically, like I liked like feeling a little tighter and feeling a little smaller, but you will plateau. I fortunately, being in my later 30s now, I plateaued later, but a lot of like some women plateau with doing stuff like that in their late 20s. And I'm going to read what you said as soon as I park. It looks like it's a juicy comment. So what I have figured out, I'm finally getting to the point of the meat of the video, but I wanted to just like give you that backstory to just like have you guys understand what I've really gone through with this, and the frustration and the aggravation, and just like feeling like I know what I'm doing and I'm not, and I don't, and feeling like I beat biology because it was working for me for a while and now it doesn't. It's like, so I started eating high protein. I'm still trying to figure, because I'm also vegan, so like the protein is you have to really sit down. Like I have like a whole note section of just like protein vegan ideas, vegan recipes, and then how to eat all of it in one day. So I'm supposed to be eating 140 grams of protein in one day. Okay, I'm not going to focus on the carbs and the fats. I have been eating carbs. Like I've been eating bread, I've been eating sweet potato, I've been eating a little bit of rice, I've been having crackers, and I lost, like I looked at the scale for like 2 weeks straight, it was the same, and then all of a sudden I like lost 3 pounds, and I was like, okay, this is wild. I am eating more, and I'm eating carbs, and I'm eating more protein, and I'm still staying consistent with my workouts, but I lost weight. And I was like, okay, I believe them now, because I was like, I don't want to. This is what happened too. And I'm just like, I feel like I can just talk to a lot of you guys because I have a small channel and there's a lot of you guys that I see all the time, so I feel comfortable. Quick side note, when I was with my master trainer, he gave me a whole food diary on what to eat. I didn't really follow it because the thing is, you will gain weight. Like when you start to eat the correct amount of calories for your body, you gain weight. And then if you're going through a mental growth spurt, I guess you could say, like me growing out of kind of those unhealthy methods that I thought aesthetically looked fine, but it was really just ruining me for later, which I'm dealing with now. I was like, I liked the more energy that I felt. I did notice I did my workouts way better, more fueled, but I looked on the scale and it was the mental, I would see the number going up and I was like, no, I'm not doing this. Because you guys know in my other videos, if you look at my playlist, how to lose belly fat or how to lose fat fast, I believe it's called. It's either, I think it's how to lose fat fast. I talk about my journey of how I lost 30 pounds and never gained it back. So I was like, I'm not going back. Like I see the scale going up, I'm not going back there. Because randomly in my late 20s, I gained 30 pounds out of nowhere. You guys can watch my other videos about that. Everything that I did to lose the weight, you can get my ebook guide, exactly what I did. It's a short ebook. You can literally read it in an hour of what I did. So that'll be in the link in the description if you want to tap in with that. But it messed with me. So I looked in the mirror and I visually felt confident, but seeing the number on the scale start to go up, I was like, it was messing with me. So after I stopped going to that trainer, I started to eat less because I was like, no, I'm going to still do the workouts that I learned, but I'm just going to eat less. And yeah, technically I did lose weight. Technically the number on the scale went down, but what happened? I was losing muscle. So the muscle that I was gaining for the 8 months that I was training with the master trainer, not all of it, but some of it, I was losing fat, but I was also losing muscle because I upped my cardio. I started to eat less protein and eat less in general. And so, yeah, I started to visually look smaller, but then I started noticing I was getting looser again. Like, I just was like, okay, I got to figure this out. Like, I just have to admit to myself that I really need to do something different because the season I'm in now and the stage of life I'm in now, I can't do what I did when I was 20. And that's what so many women figure out in their later 40s. So as a woman in my 30s, and if you're in your 30s or if you're in your 20s, you could be ahead of the game. Do not do that. If you're in your 30s, get on, because we're actually kind of early because, again, it's like women will learn this in their 40s when they're really like headed for menopause, in the late, 48, 49, 50. So I feel kind of lucky that I'm like just checking in now and just saying, you know what, I have to admit, like, I'm still youthful and vibrant and radiant and all that stuff, but like the hormones are different, you know, the way that things used to bounce back or do things, it can still do that. It just has to be a different route, because there's some women that are shredded that have arguably aesthetically better looking bodies than someone in their 20s, but it's a conscious thing. It's a structured thing, and a lot of people just don't know the structure. So I'm not there all the way yet, but I can admit to myself that I cracked a little bit of the code for myself. So I wanted to share that with you. The reason why we need protein, I don't know why this did not click to me. I got it on just like, okay, yeah, you just need more protein for your muscles. Cool. If you notice, when people are younger, when they're like in their teens and early 20s, they could like work out for a week, work out for 2 weeks, eat pizza, and like literally look like they're starting to get a six-pack if they didn't have one already, or like they just look more buff if it's a guy. There's something about our bodies and like the chemistry of our bodies that just, it can gain muscle and hold on to it super easy. As you continue to spend more years on the planet, your body, it can hold muscle, but it won't hold it naturally. Like it won't just like hold the same muscle that you had from 16 unless you work at it. So you have to have the protein in order to give the muscles a reason to stay there. If you're eating 40 grams of protein, but you're working out a lot, yeah, you know, for your cardiovascular health and like just like you being an active person, that in that respect, you're still doing something. But if you're trying to actually like have some goals and hit some fitness stuff, you're gonna look loose. So that's what I figured out what was happening with me. I just wasn't eating enough protein. I was maybe like, on a good day for me, I was hitting, on an excellent day, I could hit 100. On a good day, I was doing like 60, 70, 80. On a bad day, it was like 30, 40. But I'd be like, oh, well, I'm eating, you know, I was like filling up the rest of it with like carbs and fat. But I'm just like, what's the shredded part? So now that everything is surrounded around protein, and I'm still doing my weightlifting, I'm still doing cardio, I'm not beating myself up. I would like go to these fitness classes that were like, hit cardio, boom, boom, boom. And at this stage in the game, when you do crazy amounts of cardio, your body is like freaking out. It's like, I get it. You'll survive this, but we don't understand, like the body's like, we don't understand what she's doing. So we're just going to go into a state of inflammation and just like make sure she survives. And then but like on the outside, I'm just like, I'm like hitting, you know, listening to the music, hit cardio. Hit cardio is good for you. Don't get it twisted. But like doing it for an hour straight, going so hard, 5 days a week, like, so those classes, I've calmed down. I do cardio kickboxing, but I just genuinely love it and enjoy it. So that's not going to go anywhere. But like, if you're running on the treadmill for an hour, I'm telling you, you're thinking that you can beat the inflammation. 30 and up, 35 and up, you can't. You can't. So, unless you're an anomaly, those do exist. And I thought maybe I might, actually. I was like, oh, maybe I might be. Nope. I wasn't one of the chosen few in that department. So, there's that. So I've been doing my cardio kickboxing, which is just fun. I feel like it's a skill, like a fun skill to keep up with. I walk more than I ever have, ever. That is what is allowing me. Okay, so I really hope that you guys like hear me on this. Eat the correct amount of calories. Walk 10,000 steps a day. I'm going to do another video on how I've been able to manage walking 10,000 steps a day every single day. That, more protein, and a good weightlifting program, I'm now starting to see the scale isn't dropping rapidly like I'm used to seeing it. I'm used to like seeing, you know, lose 4 pounds in 4 days. Like I'm used to being able to do that. you're only losing water weight. And then if you are losing fat, you're also losing muscle. But what I'm noticing is that the inches around my waist are getting smaller, but the scale is staying relatively the same. So that's telling me, before I just refused to believe it. I just was like, no, I feel like I'm getting bigger. Like, I feel like I'm gaining weight. Like, no, I listened to the professionals. They said, I'm telling you, stop looking at the scale. Measure. I haven't measured myself, but I just know how my clothes fit on me. They said the easiest way, if you don't have a measuring tape or whatever, you could put on a t-shirt or on like a tight spaghetti strap or your jeans, and you can feel how like things are looser or tighter. And I can visually see it in the mirror. I'm like, okay, my waist is getting a little smaller, but like the scale is the same. My protein went up. My walking went up, because this is a thing. This is another one, you guys, I'm telling you. I'm going to do a whole video on this too later, but just to kind of throw this in here. Walking, I did not know this. So many studies on this. You can look this up. Walking. Okay, I wish I could read your guys' comments right now. I'm gonna park in a second. Walking burns more fat than doing a high intensity workout. That was not clicking for me. I was like, I just don't, that doesn't make any sense to me. How can I be burning more fat walking, but then I do something like running or like a super high intensity workout, like a workout class, and I'm like burning more fat walking still? Like, I just didn't get it. And his name is Dr. Mike on YouTube. Fantastic YouTube channel. I think he has over 1 million subscribers. And I've been listening to stuff over and over for years and have been retaining a lot of it because I just love this topic. But the way he explained it, it clicked for me. And he showed like a grid. And I tried to look for it, and then I forgot. I binge watched all his videos, and I like don't remember what video it was in. I was trying to look for the chart that he put up. But it basically shows that when you are walking, your body is burning energy, of course, right? It's expending energy walking. It's relatively something that you're not huffing and puffing at. If you're walking with intention, like, at a good pace, like maybe 3.0 on a flat surface, or maybe a baby incline, it's like you could comfortably have a conversation, right? I could comfortably do this YouTube video walking at a 3.0 pace. My body's burning fat because it doesn't require as much intensity, like to keep up with the activity. So it's burning fat, not tapping into glycogen or your glucose storage, which is sitting inside the muscles. When you do heavy hit cardio, you start like running on the treadmill for hours and hours, or you're running, like you're just like running for an hour straight. You can do it. You are burning fat, but you're equally burning muscle, because it takes more. Your body is put into more. It's just a higher impact on your body. So it's like, okay, the body's like, I need to keep up with this human. Like the cells are like, I need to keep up with this human. So like, what are we gonna allow to use? Like the brain, whatever. The brain is like, what am I gonna allow for this woman to use so she can continue to run for 50 minutes, even though she don't need to. She could just walk and burn fat. But since she thinks that you're supposed to, like, you have to be drenched in sweat, and you just have to be putting yourself through all this torture to get a good workout. It's like, that's what we think, right? And see. So the body's like, okay, I'm going to burn fat, but I'm going to take this muscle too, because like, I'm not going to be able to keep up with just the fat. So that is what happens. But when you walk, your body, it decides to use more fat, to use it for, and of course, like there's technically a little bit of glucose it's using out of your muscle, but because it's not as much of an intense workout, your body decides, and I don't know why that is, but there has been scientific proof that is what it is. Okay, so maybe, when you think about it, when you think about people that live in the blue zones and they walk a lot, if you really look at their legs, like, their legs are like really nice. Like their calves are really nice. Like their muscles are like, their legs are really lean and tight. Like I'm talking like there's some 70, 80, 90-year-olds and like they live a lifestyle of like walking a lot. And like they don't look like skinny fat. Like their legs like look like tone, right? So I was like starting to connect the dots. I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense to me. Like it makes sense to me why the body would hold on to me, they're mineral packs. Muscles are mineral packs because they're filled with minerals. But like when you're putting your body through a state of shock, which is high intensity, you know, training, or, you know, just anything like super high intensity you're doing for a long time, it's like the body doesn't know that you're just doing an activity. It just is like, I need to make sure that this human stays alive. So I hope that makes sense. Like, again, I'm not a certified like nutritionist, or what I may become one day because I'm just so obsessed with the topic, or just like the science behind it, like how this all works. But it makes sense to me. So I was like, okay, let me just trust the process. Let me up my protein, up my walking, keep my weight training, keep my cardio kickboxing. Now you might say, well, Ciana, you know, you're doing cardio kickboxing. Are you essentially burning muscle off? Yes and no. Because my carb intake has gone up, okay? And my protein intake has gone up. Even though, yes, I'm burning muscle, I'm also maintaining and keeping muscle. So it kind of like balances out, if that makes sense. Because like my protein has shot up. I still am doing weight training. And then my cardio kickboxing is like a fun thing for me to do. And it's still good to do HIIT cardio. It's just for the length of time is a lot. And then again, the stage that I'm at, I'm starting to like get some muscle there too. You guys can start to see. But like the stage that I'm at 5'7", 140, if I want to get smaller on the scale, I'm just going to have to sacrifice muscle. And I don't want to, like, I don't care about the 140. Like I could be 150 and then visually have a different body composition look. Like I could have a snatched waist and like shredded legs and like a super lean back and be heavier. And so I've just finally swallowed that after years and years of like working on that for my mental, working on that in like the mental department, because it just wasn't clicking for me. I just refused to believe it. I thought I was an anomaly and I'm not. So I hope that makes sense. I would love to know your guys' opinion, or if you want to add to that, or if I maybe said something wrong, because again, this is something that finally just clicked for me. And I wish I had that graph, because the graph shows when the body is doing a certain level of activity, and it shows when you start to kick up in the intensity, it shows where it switches over into glucose for burning fat. So really pay attention. Like true bodybuilders, you notice that they do a lot of bodybuilding, and they'll maybe walk on the treadmill on incline after their workout for 30 minutes, and like that's it. Like they don't do a lot of like just like sprints, and then you're gonna see them doing like the burpees and da-da-da. You want to do those things too, but you won't see them doing that a lot. But then you're looking at them and you're like, how do you have that body? It's because they know they're using the fat. Oh, and too, when you're upping your protein, it takes more energy for your body. Like it literally your body burns calories to burn the food that's protein. Like I have been so full, like I literally haven't been able to finish some of my meals because like it's just so much protein. Like I'm just like think about, like I don't eat steak, but like I have before in my life. Think about after you've had a really bomb steak. Imagine if there was someone said, hey, look, you guys were great guests tonight. We're going to offer you another steak. And you'd be like, I literally will pass out. Like I literally can't. That's what protein does, because it takes a long time for your body to break down. So you actually burn more calories eating more protein. So there's just so much science to it that I'm taking more serious at this stage of my life, that I just refuse to like believe, because I just was the type of person that underate, did more cardio, hit the sauna, and looked how I wanted to look. And like, it just doesn't work for me anymore. So, and it, to be honest, I was like energyless. Like, I would be running on fumes all the time. I'd be running off of willpower, you know? And after I started really fueling my body, I'm like, oh, I just feel better. Like, I just feel like I don't need coffee. Like, I just feel like if I have coffee, my RYZE mushroom coffee, it's a treat. Like, I don't, like, there'll be 2 weeks that go by and I'm like, oh wow, like my RYZE mushroom coffee is still full, because I just don't need it. So, because I'm getting the nutrients from the protein, and the proteins do so much for our body, like our brain, our muscles, the way that things communicate inside of our body, the cells, you know, so it's just super important. But make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, make sure to also get on my email list down below in the description. As soon as I'm going to actually put all that stuff in the link as soon as I park here. But I actually am getting to my destination quicker than I thought. So tap in with you guys later. Appreciate you guys tapping in with me. And I'm going to be giving away something else very soon. So you're going to want to make sure to subscribe so you can be a part of that giveaway. I've already given away treadmill, a juicer, other cool things. I just love giving like little prizes away because it's just fun. So, all right. Talk to you.